Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for giving me an opportunity to address you here today. It is truly a challenging honor. Now, I'm going to go old school, no slides, no technology. That's a little bit of a rebellion from the youth. Well, Haraldur and I were invited to speak here today, not as experts on the bioeconomy, but as representatives of our generation. And for this particular reason, I have particularly enjoyed learning about the projects that you all have been working on to help our Nordic communities become more sustainable. Yet, the driving force behind these innovations and projects, it's a scary one. We mistreat our planet by not respecting other living creatures, the limits of our resources, and indeed the very future of life as we know it, and we, the humans, need it. And those of you who have presented here today your innovative projects, you are indeed not representatives of your generation. Never before has the human being dominated the planet as it does today. We are not only facing global warming, but also overexploitation of natural resources, species extinction, and severe pollution of water, soil, and the very air that we breathe. Unfortunately, responsible people like you are not representatives of your generation. And it is impossible for me to be a representative of mine because it is so diverse. I belong to a generation that is becoming a little bit more aware. We are more willing to go for environmentally friendly options, and we are also socially aware and a bit rebellious. Not least in the online space, we sign petitions that have nothing to do with our own countries. Distances and borders are irrelevant to us. We sign petitions to reduce waste in a local community in India or at an Australian airline. But to do so, we have a cell phone, a smart tablet, and a computer made of minerals that are neither socially nor environmentally sustainable. We participate in the environmental cause, but on our own premises. The main challenge, as I see it, is that we are raised in a world of imbalance. And why should we respect efforts aimed at restoring essential environmental balance in the world when there's no balance around us? Let me give you examples. Gender inequality exists in every single country on Earth. And inequality when it comes to income and quality of life keeps increasing. Even the worth of a life, of a human life, is based on where a person comes from. One person can move freely between countries to avoid paying taxes, while another is hindered in doing so to save his or her very life. And yet, all life on this earth is connected in a web where each individual part depends on another. This web has developed over billions of years and reached a delicate balance. A balance that can survive fluctuations, but also only within a certain degree. Certain parameters, such as temperature, acid levels, oxygen levels, water supply, have to remain within certain limits if life as we know it is to survive. Now, this does not mean that we should not use the Earth's resources, as we discussed yesterday. We should be part of the life chain, but we should not abuse our position, guided by the thought that doomsday will only come after our day. So, how do we create awareness and appreciation for this balance? I am immensely impressed that NordBio has a separate educational component. This is unfortunately too often overlooked, but so important. After all, what is more sustainable than making sure that knowledge is shared between generations? And this can go both ways. A few years ago, I was in a summer cabin with my young cousin Nina. She was eating an apple, and once she was almost done, she asked me where she should throw the organic waste. Silence. I had to tell the 5-year-old that unfortunately in this household, we didn't separate the organic waste from the rest of the trash. Why? She asked. Well, the honest answer was that we were simply too lazy. We weren't sure that it really made a difference if we separated the organic waste from the rest. After all, isn't it the big industries that are responsible for the pollution? Does it really make a difference if I throw an apple in an organic waste or not? But Nina, my cousin, she simply knew that it was better for the planet if she separated the trash diligently, irrespective of what others do. See, if you're raised with respecting the environment, you do not have to convince the rational voice that is always there in the back of our heads, telling us that it might not be cost-effective to take the extra step. It's like we do it without thinking, in the same way that most of us do not simply drop the leftovers of our plate onto the floor for convenience when we stand up from the dinner table. We take the extra step. We take it to the trash, some to the organic waste. Now, and I appreciate there might be some parents of young children in the room who would not disagree with me that we all do that, but I hope that in general we can agree that that is what we do. And I tell you the story of Nina because it shows the two necessary prerequisites for creating respect for the environmental cause. First, it is essential to have solutions, somewhere to throw the organic waste. And second, we need rules. This is essentially what a household needs for the family to become more sustainable. And this is what we all need to create a sustainable society. We need rules that govern our behavior, and we need innovative solutions. As this conference proves, we are already finding innovative ways to make our societies more sustainable by focusing on the bioeconomy. And luckily, there are also examples of rules being set to guide us towards sustainability. To name an example, an increasing number of countries are banning the use of plastic bags and plastic utensils, and in January this year, France became the first country to ban supermarket food waste. This becomes increasingly important as more and more people live in urban communities and are less connected to the process involved in making the food we eat and the stuff we must have. We need to raise a generation that values the importance of caring for our environment and treating it with respect. A generation where each individual takes responsibility for himself regardless of others. Because today, we are not convinced that our individual carbon footprint matters. We torment ourselves with thoughts such as, the plane will fly whether or not I'm on it, the cow will be slaughtered whether or not I eat it. But the question is not whether each individual step makes a difference. Together, these steps create respect for the environment, which becomes part of our value system. We need a generation that wants to treat the planet better, not has to. This mentality will lead us to a society that appreciates the importance of the bioeconomy. Education leads to implementation. My generation was raised by people that, broadly speaking, were not interested in the environmental cause. And even though I am invited here today to speak on behalf of a new generation, we're already grown up. We are even becoming parents, without this being important enough to our value system. That being said, all of us, we are making progress. We understand better the effects of our actions, and we are looking for new solutions. And we, my generation, we must raise our children, and possibly your grandchildren for some, in a way where they value the importance of sustainability. However, the human race and the planet do not have time to wait for the newest generation, hoping that it will become responsible adults, which is why the ideas that Haraldur was talking about is so important and the methods they are using. To conclude, I want to comment on the immense resource that we have right here, right now in this room, your combined knowledge. Do not take your knowledge on this subject for granted. And I call on you to use your knowledge to educate. Not only educate your peers, but also educate us, the younger generations, because we need it. I thank you again for giving me the opportunity to share with you my thoughts and wish you all success in further development of the ideas and projects discussed over the last 2 days. Thank you.